Rohan, good evening. Great to have you on our program, The Business Detective. My first question to you is, given the crisis we are in, what is the way forward for Sri Lanka?
First of all, thank you, Dinesh, for inviting me. Yes, Sri Lanka is at an absolute critical juncture. I would say the way forward is, I've been always talking all over that first we need to establish political stability and a proper plan for the next 6 months and then for the next 12 months. So overall 18-month plan is very critical for Sri Lanka with political stability.
Okay. In terms of pillars, what would your recommendations be?
So our biggest problem is the external debt situation. So obviously we need to get our exports on real focus. We've been doing a lot of lip service for probably decades without really actioning, and our peers in the world, Vietnam to China to India, everybody has moved forward, whereas we have actually stagnated for the last decade. So our focus should be on export-oriented reforms, as well as not only manufacturing sector, but also in the services sector for exports. And then, of course, the tourism sector has to be revived. For that to revive, you obviously need positive news out of Sri Lanka and as I come back, a politically stable environment.
I know, Rohan, you have a deep understanding of the export sector. In terms of a strategy, how should we progress?
Well, Dinesh, the current president, when he was prime minister, we had what is called the national export strategy to diversify our exports. It was launched in 2017. And we finalized the reports and we started working on different sectors, new sectors, including areas like electronics and electrical items, boat building and things like that, moving into kind of high-tech areas, and also services such as logistics are brought in for export. Now all that got stalled in 2020 and we need to restart where we stopped. Of course, our diplomatic missions and foreign ministry, foreign related government institutions have played a critical role. And we need the right skilled people out there, both bring in investment to the BOI and also promote exports to diversify. That's how I see. So the plan of action is already there in our hand. Just that we have to relook at it and see how best and how focused we can implement it.
You raised a very important point about making use of our embassies. There's already people grumbling that they're not really delivering. In terms of a strategy, could you identify maybe one or two things that the embassies can do in the current context?
Yeah, so recently, I think one of the newspapers very critically reported that 50% of the embassies are manned by politically appointed, unqualified people. So if Sri Lanka wants to turn the new page that we need professionals who are really capable of promoting the country and its reality of what it can offer, and they have to be highly focused and aggressive. Today we don't see that aggression and any kind of focus on these sectors. They are just day-to-day operations are being done, and they do not act as professional bodies, I would unfortunately call it. It's just like knee-jerk reactions, and somebody organizes a meeting and goes and sees a meeting, that's it, no follow-up. So I think institutions such as BOI, EDB and the foreign ministry has to have a proper link and a dedicated director general or a director separately to overlook Sri Lanka promotions on the export sector. Like tourism has several divisions, promotions, events. I think awareness is very important out there. Some of the people don't know even where Sri Lanka is. Bottom line is that. So we need to first get that right, because I can very clearly remember a Norwegian ambassador who was here. The previous Norwegian ambassador said, "Don't think too much of yourself, because some of us in Europe don't know where your country is." Obviously, they don't know what we are exporting either or what they can do with. So marketing is one of the key weaknesses Sri Lanka has had as a nation. Even with the trouble we have had, the marketing has been a failure. So we need to come out with a good marketing and a strategic focus on image building. And for that, also we need that proper media coverage out there. So we need to have international media also supporting us in that sense. Just to add something, I had chat with the UAE government yesterday, and they were also saying the same thing. What they are getting is negative news. Whereas if people can come up and say what's going on really in Sri Lanka, there will be delegations who would like to come and see Sri Lanka at this moment either.
Okay. You have been talking a lot about export diversification. Any suggestions that you can give the government?
Yes, so the diversification side is now we have been a country that builds high tech, for example, yachts and boats, but we didn't go the backward integration of developing generators, engines, products like that, what is called hardware needed for export industries in terms of electrical and electronic items. We focus on information communication technology, but that is an area that is very fluid in terms of actual export proceeds. There is no mechanism to understand it, and the human resources can migrate very fast. But what we need is in the electronic and electrical engineering side to bring in these industries to Sri Lanka. So we've been, hovering around tea, rubber, coconut, which was none of us but ours. It was the British who did that. Even the spices were taken by the British. So we did the garments, which has been successful. Rubber has gone into value addition in major scale. So we need new technology related, whether it is assembly of partial assembly of products, because we need to connect to the global supply chains. Now, even our northern neighbor, India's state of Tamil Nadu, is supporting with a lot of economic zones to value add, not the full product, but they are bringing in value addition. Even our tea, yesterday when I was talking to Dubai, as I said, they were thanking me for Sri Lanka for sending bulk tea, because they have become one of the biggest value added centers in Dubai, $700 million of exports. So Sri Lanka has gone out of this protectionism mentality in certain areas for even exports. So we don't want brands coming in because we want to protect the Ceylon tea brand, but today we are living in the 21st century. There are so many methodologies you can have with economic zones. Like Bangladesh now has ambition for 100 economic zones. You and I know since 1977, we have had very few economic zones and all those are full now. How can we go and market ourselves if we don't have the proper infrastructure and the enabling environment to bring in these investors to produce partially and ship even? Sri Lanka's location is made for that. So we can do a lot of things provided that fixed plan is there and somebody overlooks it for a period of at least 5 years to on a constant basis. Because I've been involved in so many areas, every 3 months things change. Nothing is going to move forward in that situation.
Okay. You are also involved in ports and shipping. Any thoughts around whether we are progressing in the right direction?
Well, I wouldn't say so. We have not yet gone beyond what was a transshipment hub for the last 30-40 years. There is no international shipping companies who are very much interested in Sri Lanka because I know I've been fighting for this. There's protectionism. You go on Sri Lanka, you would not see a billboard of Maersk or MSC or any other foreign ship owners, although we call ourselves a hub, because they are not present here. They are just maintaining Sri Lanka as a cost center. So we need to invite foreign capital, ship owners capital and the logistics industry. Obviously, we've been talking about the location, but the periphery and the remedial legal environment has never been made seriously. And there are negative attitudes among certain people that we can't be Singapore, we can't be UAE because we are what we are. So if we again don't change that mindset, I think we will not move forward. But there's worldwide, if you look at Sri Lanka has a lot of potential if you open up our doors to investors in this particular field. And having 3 major ports, Trincomalee has been hardly used for anything. And there's a lot of talk about the Bay of Bengal region development. So that is the biggest developing corridor of India's what we call Sagaramala project. So that is where we can feed in also to bring in investors. So there's a lot more to be done in the shipping industry, and that is also included in the national export strategy as one of the key pillars, logistics to support export development.
Okay. What is actually holding us back from attracting foreign capital into this area?
Basically, we have put protectionism. Foreign companies, foreign shipping companies or logistics companies cannot hold more than 40% of equity in their own business, or they cannot hold land for a longer period. So this nobody would put their dollars in and take 40% of their profits. They would like to control their profits. That is what is happening in India. That is happening in Singapore. That is what is happening in United Arab Emirates. For example, all the regional headquarters, even the sub-regional headquarters of major shipping lines are located in India, although we talk of a maritime hub. So because of the inward-looking policies and domestic protectionism, we've lost out probably, I would say, billions of investment into this country.
Okay. On the investment promotion side, I think in the last 2 to 3 years, we have failed miserably. Going forward, how should we realign our value proposition?
I would say you're asking about the Board of Investment.
Yes.
So again, we've been talking about this for the last 10 years. It's been stagnant. It has got a, I wouldn't want to use certain words, but it's like a elephant in the room who is actually not doing the real investment promotion activities or the marketing properly. Again, the policy consistency has been a serious problem. Leadership issues have been there continuously. Lack of focus. All these together, actually, it's a namesake Board of Investment for compared to what our peers are doing in United Arab Emirates, or if you look at IE Singapore. I mean, the aggressiveness and the marketing and whether the budgetary allocations are there, even whether it happens. It's been just a kind of a facilitator over the years rather than a push, that being a push to the economy through bringing in investors. And it has been talking about a one-stop shop, which has never been a one-stop shop. Somebody comes in there, one stop is only to get a signature on a document. Beyond that, the investor has to go all around the country to get its things done. So obviously, people are not encouraged. And we also don't even talk about our existing investors, which is about 1,800 numbers. We should use them as marketing tools. The brands, international brands who came to Sri Lanka after 1977, they're doing a great job here, still loyal to the country. We have top brands in whether it's apparel or rubber industry or other industries. We have top brands here working in Sri Lanka. So we need to get them also partner to us to brand our country. Dubai has a specialist unit of country branding, nation branding unit. So that should be amalgamated with the BOI and the tourism and all these sectors, export development. Nation branding unit has to be separately set up, in my opinion. For that, you need specialized skilled people. So we need to set up that kind of people in a very short period so that all the negativity of the country can be taken away at some point.
Okay. This you head the Shippers Academy. What is your value proposition for that?
Yes, so I actually started the Shippers Academy in Singapore with a colleague of mine. The idea of the Singapore government, it was originally funded by the Singapore government, Dinesh, to make Singapore a global virtual hub, not only a physical hub. People were given knowledge on international trade and also global geographic locations, how to do business. So one of the initiatives through the Shippers Academy Singapore was that they provided consultants from Singapore government to go into Rwanda to make Rwanda a hub. So Singaporeans go and position themselves with knowledge and skills. When they come to Sri Lanka, they know what's happening in Sri Lanka and the business environment. So it was a training exercise, human capacity development exercise, so that Singapore could operate various businesses in the 181 territories and 20 states, international locations, to add value to Singapore. So it's educational based, but it was strategic. So then 2011, they gave me the support to start up with 2 years startup support to start up in Sri Lanka. So I started in Sri Lanka, but Sri Lanka has limited scale. So I have decided in 2020, I established what is called Shippers Academy International, which is registered in Australia. And now I am trying to give that brand in different countries. Basically, it's capacity and skills building and reskilling of people in international trade and logistics.
Okay. My final question to you is, what is your expectation of leadership?
Yes. In fact, I was listening to Honorable President, I would say. I was very happy. In fact, I issued a press statement on one particular line. He said, I want a just society. So I think what Sri Lanka has been lacking for the last 30, 40 years is a just society, because meritocracy was never a priority in this country. Lack of meritocracy made a lot of talented, educated Lankans to go and serve other nations and settle down in other nations. So if we have a just society through judiciary as well as the governance, I think that was the statement for me. I think in 2015 also we came with a just society statement. Unfortunately, for many reasons, it didn't happen. So I do expect Honorable President in his short stint, probably for 2.5 years, to 30 months officially he has. He needs to turn around this country upside down, and it is very challenging. I don't know whether we have the proper human resources, skills, and needed people to do that, to support him if he's serious of turning around the country. So that is the challenge we have. But if Sri Lanka doesn't do that, it's a choice for us to go down the drain further, unfortunately, from where we are today.
Thank you, Rohan. It was great talking to you.
Thank you, Dinesh. Thanks for the opportunity.